Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update on Ukraine. Let's go to the military map first, and the situation on the front lines is more or less stable. I was expecting that Ukrainian forces would go on a counterattack near to Kreminna. At least we got the information about that possible scenario and that it will be implemented in a few days. The information appeared 2 days ago and still there is no movement. I guess the main idea for Ukrainian army is to put the main vector to Kreminna from the south and also at the same time from the north over here, cutting Russians part in this area. It was the normal tactics since the World War II, and Russia also did that kind of stuff. Then they attack Ukrainian territory. Now they're in defense mostly. The information about the possible Ukrainian counterattack spread widely because mainly Ukraine used lots of the artillery shells to target Russian military in the Kreminna city. That is why Russian command was forced to evacuate from Kreminna to Rubizhne, and now it's the main base for Russian forces. But still, Rubizhne is not far away from the front lines, and we are able to use the rocket artillery systems to target them over there. And we know that Russia wants to avoid the possible bad scenario for them in Kreminna. That is why they're collecting more forces close to Rubizhne and Severodonetsk. The most part of those forces are Wagner soldiers, so the main aim is to try to attack from Kreminna towards Liman direction. As you can see, there are no any big villages on their way to Liman, just some of the rivers that they have to cross, and if they collect enough forces, let's say 50,000 soldiers, probably they can reach Liman and take it once again. But I would not bet on that one. I think Ukraine has enough forces to counterattack and take Kreminna in nearby future. And Russian command evacuated from the place, it's the good sign for us. As for the Bakhmut city, there was no change since yesterday, so Russia took Opatne and their main attack is now from the south and straight to the city over here. So this is not very successful a vector for their attack, but from the south they're kind of successful. They took this part recently and obviously Opatne. However, the residential area of Bakhmut is over here and the main one is over here. This is the city center, and this is the private some of the private apartments and houses are there, so it's not as important as the Bakhmut city where we have the crossroads and railway stations. I'm still quite optimistic about the Bakhmut city. Russia tries to get control over it, but so far unsuccessful for many months. And that is why I think that without the changes in the Wagner Group policy or management of the Russian army, they would not be able to reach the goal in Bakhmut city. As for the south part, Ukraine continued to collect the forces near to Zaporizhia, and we're soon gonna be ready for the counterattack on Melitopol and Tokmak. So Melitopol is here, Tokmak is over here, and Russia put new reinforcements to the city and they were able to build 2 of the defense lines over here, but the same picture was in Kherson. So the first defense line for Russia was at the front line itself, the second one was near to the city road, and the third one in the city itself. The same goes for Tokmak, but not as important for Russia as Melitopol. But Ukraine cannot go now on a counterattack, and let me show you why. My friends, those are the roads in Zaporizhia region. We have received this video today. Deep State published them, and Ukraine uses the rapid tactics where we use the very light armored vehicles like Humvees and small BTRs to go to Russian positions, encircle them, small groups, and that is why we need to have maneuverability. And here we should just wait, otherwise we'll just go to the snail mode and will be just targets for the Russian tanks and artillery systems. We don't need that, and I'm very happy that our generals understand that stuff. Russian propaganda media decided to film some sort of the video how they fight in Ukraine against Ukrainians in the Kherson region, but they put some sort of the track and start to fire the rounds towards the south part to their own positions. It's kind of interesting. So guys from the deep state uncovered their positions and the direction of shooting. Very funny. United States of America sent more NASAMS systems to Ukraine, so totally we have 24 of the rockets that could be fired simultaneously, and that means that we probably have around 4 of the systems. That photo of the PAC system was taken on an apron somewhere, and here is the cargo compartment. Not only systems were delivered themselves, but also we have more rockets delivered. But some of the leaders of the European Union, is it okay to say, the president of Hungary, Viktor Orban, said that Ukraine should not get any kind of the weaponry. In that way, the conflict will be ended. And I think that it would not be ended, because even if Russia take all of the Ukraine, there will be the local resistance from our residents and will not let them live the normal life. I mean, occupiers. We're gonna drive them out of Ukraine in any case with severe losses, without weaponry, but we have this mindset to get rid of the Russian occupiers in our country, and the war itself might turn to some sort of the USSR-Afghan war, where USSR was fighting against mostly rebels, without aviation, without heavy military equipment, but still those Afghan people were able to drive Russians away, Soviets away from their country. In that case, the war may go for years, but the result will be the same for Russia, and simply just more people will die without the proper military help to Ukraine. And as for Hungary, then they were just occupied by the Soviet regime. Remember your past, Hungarians, and just listen to your leader, what he's saying. I think you'll not get the profit if Ukraine loses this war, but we're not gonna lose it in any case. Ukrainian army has some of the problems with the trophied Russian tanks and other equipment because we are in lack of the spare parts that are mostly produced in Russia for those vehicles. That is why the vast part of those tanks and BTRs, modern-day BTRs, they are stored in some kind of the storages and not used on the front lines. Well, if those are old BTRs and tanks, we may use them on the front lines. At the very beginning of the war, Russia tried to use some sort of the new weaponry, but now mostly old style is here. Finally, Ukraine may give the green light for the Ukrainian man to leave the country because the restrictions that are implemented for now, they are not really constitutional. So it's the order directive from Zelensky directly to the border control. But according to the constitution, we have the right to leave our country, and there is not the war state announced in Ukraine. Only in that case, the border should be closed, but for everyone, men, women. Now women can go, men should stay, and no one tells how it's all figured out against our constitution. And that's why we have some sort of the disagreements between our society and the government, because our army is equipped, as they say, but they are not letting men to go and work abroad. Our economy dropped by 40% this year, and simply there are not enough jobs for Ukrainian men, and we have blackouts, we have missile strikes on our territory that makes our economy suffer, especially then many men, they're just sitting, they're not in the army, no one calls them to join the army, and that situation may bring Ukrainian society even to riots, because simply you cannot earn money to buy some food for your family. And that's why I'm very happy to see that Ukrainian government may lower the restrictions for those men who have some sort of the business or job which is connected to other countries. And here we have an example. Then Ukrainian men are in desperate, they try to find any kind of other job abroad, and here, for example, they tried to cross the mountains from Ukraine into Romania, and just 2 people made it, and 1 body was found on the Romanian side, and they continued to search for 3 more men. probably they already frozen to death. As you can see, people are risking their lives and even losing their lives in attempt to get the normal life in some kind of the other country. And it's very sad for me to see that our society is put in that position that we have to search for other way outs to some sort of the other countries like refugees. I'm right now also a refugee. I never thought that I will be the one in my life, so it's very bad actually. And I'm very grateful for the other countries that provide shelter for Ukrainian refugees. Thank you so much. My friends, I'm trying to be unbiased on my channel as far as I can and speak truth about what is happening around Ukraine and about my country. Not only good things are there. For example, here you can see the guy, he's in a hospital, and a woman. The woman on the right is Shulag, Olena Shulag, who is the leader of the party, actually Zelensky's party. The name of the party is Sluga Narodu, or Servant of People in English. That party was quite popular at first and they took the solo majority in the parliament by the time Zelensky won his president elections. But now Ukrainian society see the corruption within the party and parliament from some of the MPs, members of parliament. It is so clear that it's very hard to hide. And I want to stress here that I'm okay with the President Zelensky. He's doing a fantastic job to increase the global awareness, and mainly because of him we have the military support, humanitarian support. Yes, he is a nice guy and he is doing a fantastic job. But the parliament, some of the MPs, not all of them, are really strange. And here Olena Shulag, the leader of the party, came up with the project 5655. It's the number of it. You can Google, you can check it out. It's in Ukrainian, but you can translate it into English. And according to that project, cities will have no influence and no control over the building companies. The only centralized control will stay, well, you may guess where. And that means that local communities will have no influence at all. And if building companies will decide to get rid of the school and build a big mall over there, communities will not have the legal right against those actions, and only the central government is up to decide. So they may be bribed by the building companies that may build everything where they want. And here on the left you can see a guy who is a Ukrainian soldier who was fighting on the front lines and was seriously injured. He got the trauma of his face, he lost many of his teeth, and he got severe burns of his hands, and unfortunately he lost 2 of his legs. And this guy is from Kiev, and before the war he was activist who was protesting against illegal building of some of the areas in Kiev. So building companies, they bribe the local government and start the building. So it was and it is a great issue for Ukraine. But now then he woke up from his injury, he saw the project of the law 5655. He was mad on that and he created the post on Facebook that went viral. What are you doing, government? What are you doing, parliament? And the next day, this Olena came to visit him in a hospital without the previous negotiations, without any kind of announcement, and simply said to him, why are you posting like that? There are some of the influences on you. So she was really kind of tough in her speech on that guy. You know, soldier lost 2 of his legs protecting the country. Now you decide to take the law that increases corruption in the country. And the guy was really polite. He didn't say, he said, okay, I will tell you what I think, and here you go. So he told what he really thinks about the project. He told what he really thinks about the corruption in Ukrainian parliament. And she was really shocked and she just disappeared from his room. And now our soldiers went to protect their colleague and asking Parliament and President Zelensky to get rid of Olena Shulag and dismiss her from her position in Parliament. And it's very nice, my friend, that we have a new power, the military power. And obviously society will not let it go, and I hope that President Zelensky will take the right decision. And I was kind of shocked with that story, because MP may just go, knock the door open in a hospital where a soldier is lying with severe wounds, and she starts to speak with him, I would say, in a harsh and even harassment manner. Those MPs, they live in big houses, they got lots of the money because of the corruption, and they obviously have generators. They, I'm sure, do not have problems with electricity, so they do not realize how our guys are suffering on the front lines. I just hope that this war changes something inside Ukrainian government, because people are tired to fight not only on the front lines but also against our corruption leaders. Alright guys, the other topic here is just for love, the prediction of Dmitry Medvedev for 2023, next year, how things will go in this world. It is in Russian, but I will translate it for you, and we have 10 of the items here. Let's go with the first one. The increasement of the prices for oil, $150 per barrel, together with the gas, $5,000 per 1,000 cubic meters. And just for you to understand, Russia stopped even supplying oil to the countries that put the price limit for their oil. And the price for gas now lower than it was 1 year ago before the war. Next one. The Great Britain will rejoin the European Union. Right after it, the third one, the collapse of the European Union after entering the Great Britain and cancelling the European currency as the main currency in ex-European Union. So on his opinion, Great Britain may enter and just destroy everything in the European Union. Well, interesting. For 1 year, my friends, 2023. The intervention of Poland and Hungary into the western parts of ex-Ukraine. So it should be ex-Ukraine. Ukraine should lose the sovereign right next year, and Poland together with Hungary will go and take their historical territories. That's his prediction. Well, the fifth is very funny. The creation of the Fourth Reich, based on Germany, but including satellite countries like Poland, Baltic countries, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Romania, and Kievsky Republic. So whether it should be Ukraine or just Kiev Republic for Russia, I'm quite confused. It's getting more interesting. The war between France and the Fourth Reich and division of Europe, including the division of Poland. But Poland took the part of Ukraine together with Hungary before, so how it could be divided, by what nations? Seventh, the separation of the North Island from UK and joining with the Irish Republic. Alright, now for America. The civil war in United States, separation of California, Texas into sovereign states. Creation of the union between Texas and Mexico. Elon Musk will win president elections in Republican states of America. So I'm quite confused here whether Texas and California should separate from the rest of the United States, or United States should be divided into Republican or Democratic states, maybe like North, South as it was before. From this post, I couldn't understand. Number 9. Moving all of the funds, exchanges and basically financial activity from United States into the Asian countries. Yeah, why not, right? Number 10. The collapse of the Bretton Woods financial system, including the IMF collapse and the crash of the World Bank. The refusal from dollar and euro as from the world reserve currencies. The return of the gold standard and moving to the digital currencies. Happy New Year, Anglo-Saxons and their friends. And this guy was ex-Russian president, my friends, and I'm sure that he illustrates really what Putin is thinking. And what is here is just a collage from the conspiracy theories taken from their sick brains. It's just nonsense. Right, my friends, after all, I'm gonna keep you updated on the situation in Ukraine, and if you want to support the channel, just press the like button, and if you want to support me financially, there are some of the links in a video description just below. You may support me on Patreon, PayPal, or Donatello, whichever is more convenient for you. My friends, thank you so much for your kind support. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.